Hello, welcome to Yoga Rach. I'm Rach, thank you very much for joining me. If you've been joining me for the whole of January, we've been working with moving through the new moon and honouring the elements of Capricorn, that earthing element, moving through a flowing vinyasa mandala flow for the earth element, and then starting to wind down as we've moved past the full moon through a nice grounding practice. And now we're coming into a little practice for a little flow for grounding down and really connecting into our root chakra. So take good time, still keeping those key elements of mobility and stability when you're in your practice today. Keep mindful of how you're moving, stay in that present moment, listen to what's going on in the body with the knees and the feet in particular, moving with that stability, using assists if you need to. So you might have a nice sort of wall rather than as I'm pointing towards a window, you might have a bit of wall that you can use, or even a chair close by, or just take a few steps in and out of a pose or towards a pose rather than taking one big lunge back or forth if that's how you're moving. So finding a comfortable seat, and as I've highlighted all the way back on the new moon practice, you know, if sitting in easy pose isn't actually easy or comfortable for you, find what feels comfortable for you with your knees, your hips and your legs. Hello puppy. And find what feels comfortable for you. So you might have the hands resting into the lap or onto the thighs, the knees. You might move back into that Shunya mudra with the thumb and the middle fingers touching if you're wanting to invite in some patience, or if you're wanting to really come into that grounding stability, we might move into our Ganesh mudra, right palm facing your heart, left palm facing forwards, and interlacing the fingers. Coming back to any New Year's intentions or resolutions you made at the beginning of January, and finding that element of invoking in some patience or calming or grounding. No matter what's going on in the background, so I know my two girls are now wanting to play as we're currently away on holiday. So just finding that element of grounding, so no matter what's going on around you, see if you can stay in that present moment. More breaths, slowly blinking the eyes over and moving into tabletop. Knees on the mat underneath the hip, keep the knees and feet hip width apart, hands on the mat underneath the shoulders, put the fingertips nice and wide. Inhale, lift the chin, lift the tailbone. Exhale, rounding through the spine, tuck the chin, the tailbone under. So just gently inviting cat-cows through the spine. Inhale, lift the chin, lift the tailbone. Exhale, rounding through the spine, tuck the chin, the tailbone under. Be aware of rooting down through the hands, through the knees, the shins, the top of the feet. You might have the toes tucked under. Two more. Inhale, lift the chin, lift the tailbone. Exhale, rounding through the spine, tuck the chin, the tailbone under. Last one. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, rounding. Finding your way into your flat back tabletop. So spreading the fingertips nice and wide so you're grounding, rooting down through the hands. Your choice, so you might have a go with this on top of the feet, you might prefer to tuck the toes under. We're going to hover the knees. So you're literally letting the knees lift up off the mat, as though you're going to move up into downward dog, but the only part of you that has actually moved is that lifting of the knees, the shins off the mat. So see which feels more comfortable for you. You might have a couple of goes with the toes tucked under or on the tops of the feet. Focusing on the breath. Does not matter how long or short you hold this one for, you can lower the knees back down. Having another go when you're ready. Last one. And coming all the way up into downward dog. Draw the shoulders back from the wrist, pointing and lifting the tailbone high. You can bend the knees, might walk through the legs. Focusing on the breath. Finding your way up to standing. So we can move to forward fold. That might be at the top of the mat, middle of the mat, back of the mat. Just having a little fold forward for a breath or two, and rolling up through the spine to standing. If you're at the back of the mat or the middle of the mat, finding your way towards the top of the mat, feet are hip width apart, gently rooting, grounding down through the feet. Roll the shoulders away from the ears, finding your mountain pose, palms of the hands facing forward. Focusing on the breath. Inhale, raise the arms forward and up. Exhale, bend the knees, sitting the tailbone down into chair pose. Focusing on the breath, make sure the knees aren't squeezing together. Lower the arms down, lifting back up. From here we're going to step our left foot back, planting through the ball of the foot. We might take a couple of steps here so the heel is lifted, moving into high lunge. If you need to, please do move into low lunge, bringing the knee down if that gives you a bit more stability in your practice. Hips are facing forward, hands we stay with the hips in front of the heart, or raise those arms up. Focusing on the breath. Slowly bring the hands down, stepping the right foot back into downward facing dog, adjusting the feet if you need to. Slowly lowering the knees down into tabletop. From here we're going to have a little go with a half or a variation of a side plank. So we're going to tuck under the left toes, lift the left knee. And we're going to turn onto the instep or the inside arch of the left foot. We're going to take the right foot behind us, so it's in line with the knee to the right edge of the mat. Let's see if we can start to lift the left arm up, looking up to the ceiling. So take your time. You might need a blanket or a cushion underneath that right knee, or we might have a go with an extra variation from here. Make sure you've got the whole of your left foot onto the mat, rooting down through that right hand. Can we lift the right knee, shin and foot off of the mat? So bring that left hand down, stepping the right foot back into plank and drawing the shoulders back, tailbone high, downward facing dog. Slowly finding your way up to standing, so walking, stepping or hopping into your forward fold. From the forward fold, rolling up to standing. Exhale, lower the hands down, mountain pose at the top of the mat, so walking towards the top of the mat if you're at the back or the middle. Inhale, raise the arms forward and up. Exhale, bend the knees, sit down into your chair pose. Make sure you're not pushing the tailbone up, so you're not arching the back, so you might find you need to tuck the tailbone a little bit, focusing on the breath. Slowly come back up to standing, lower the arms down. We're going to step the right foot back into our high lunge. So step the right foot back, might be able to nudge it back a little bit further. Keep the left knee over the ankle. We're on the ball of the right foot if we're staying in our high lunge, or maybe we're taking the variation of lowering down into your low lunge, bringing the knee down behind the hip. See what feels more stable for you in your practice. Hands to stay with the hips in front of the heart, or raise the arms up. Focus on the breath. On your next exhale, bring the hands down, and we're going to step back into our downward dog, stepping the left foot back. Lower the knees down into tabletop. We're going to try that variation of our side plank. So this time we're going to extend the right leg back so we're on the border of the foot, lifting the right knee. You take that left leg round to the left edge of the mat as you find the inner arch of the right foot. So as we twist to the right, we've got the left hand onto the mat. You can see if we can raise that right arm up towards the ceiling. You might stay here, or maybe you can place the whole of that right foot onto the mat. So you root down through the left hand, right foot. Maybe the left knee, left shin, left foot, lift up. Focusing on the breath, stay with the variation that feels right for you. From here, we're going to bring right hand down, stepping the left foot back into plank. Drawing back up into downward dog. Pulling your way into a forward fold and up standing, so that will be walking, stepping or hopping. And all the way up, raise the arms up. Exhale, finding your mountain pose. Inhale, raise the arms forward and up. Wherever you've landed on your mat, doesn't matter. Exhale, fold. Find your way into your downward dog. So if you're at the back end of the mat, might be walking the hands forward or stepping the feet back. Have a few breaths here, and we're going to transition into seated. So you might move through tabletop and lower the tailbone down, or you might have a little hop forward to come down to sitting. So from here, we're going to extend the left leg out, flexing the foot. Keep the right knee bent, so you're placing the right foot into either the inside of that left thigh, or you might take it down to the shin. Inhale, raise the arms forward and up. As you exhale, start to fold over your left leg. Inhale, lifting the arms, the torso back up. Exhale, folding over your left leg. Does not matter how far you fold. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, folding. Two more. Last one. I'm going to pause as you fold. Hands might be down by the ankles or by the knee. Maya, drop it. Slowly lifting back up. We're going to transition from here, from our head to knee pose into our pigeon pose. So we're going to slide the left leg out to the back of the mat and lifting up into our pigeon. So we have the right knee forward. We're lifting the tailbone. We might need to shift the legs forward and back. Make sure you're not rolling onto that right thigh. We're also not rolling onto the inside of that left ankle. Gently rolling the shoulders away, lift the chin. And we might stay lifted, or we might have a little restorative pigeon lowering down towards the mat. Make sure there's no weight going into the knee. If you do feel this is pinching your knees at all, come out of the pose when you're ready. Or have a drink if you need to. lifting. So we can slide our left knee forward, sitting down on the tailbone. We can rotate round so we can face the other direction. We can extend the right leg out, we can have the foot flex, bending the left knee as we bring the knee out to the side, opening the hip, bringing the left foot towards the right thigh or even the shin. Inhale, reach the arms forward and up. Exhale, start to fold over our legs. So we're in our head to knee pose on the other side. Inhale, lifting. Exhale, folding. So inviting this movement in, inhale, lifting, exhale, folding. Can be really nice, especially if you're someone who finds that they're not as flexible when it comes to forward folds. So we're not lingering in a pose for too long. We just find that movement here, which can be really nice. 2 more. Last one. As you exhale, just hold it here just for a breath or two. Hands might be with the ankles or even up by the knees. Doesn't matter how far you fold. Find what feels comfortable for you. Slowly lifting up. We're going to sweep that right leg behind us. As we lift up off the tailbone, we might need to shift the left knee forward slightly as we extend the right leg back. Make sure you're not rolling onto the left thigh. So the hips are facing forward. There's no weight on that right knee. We might stay lifted, or we might find our restorative pigeon, folding towards the mat. Slowly come on up, sliding that right knee forward, coming up to sitting. So from here, we're going to bend the knees, rolling all the way onto the back. You might keep the knees bent with the feet on the mat, so that's a little bit more comfortable for you in your lower back, or if it's okay for you to lift the feet off the mat. See if that feels comfortable. We're going to go into some twists. So we can shimmy over to the left side of the mat, either keep the feet on the mat or lift the knees in towards the belly. We're going to roll the legs over to the right, so you're letting your left hip point up towards the ceiling, keeping your left shoulder onto the mat. And we can let the left arm relax down onto the mat or fall onto the floor. Right hand might be resting on the left hip or onto the belly, or might be extending out to the right. Closing the eyes, focusing on the breath. Slowly shift you back to centre, lift the head, slowly lifting the legs. We might then shimmy a little bit over towards the right side of the mat, either keeping the feet on the mat or bring the knees into the belly. We're going to roll the legs over to the left this time, so right hip plug up towards the ceiling, roll the right shoulder blade onto the mat and release the hands onto the mat, turning the chin to look over the right shoulder. Just let that left arm relax. It might be on the right hip, the belly, or just gently releasing down onto the mat. Closing the eyes. Focusing on the breath. Pushing back to centre, you lift your head up, lifting the legs up, placing the feet onto the mat. We might keep the knees bent, walking the feet wide, letting the knees drop together, or if it's comfortable for you, extending the legs out, letting the feet relax. Hands might be resting down onto the hips, just bringing that awareness to connecting with this area down by that root chakra, or you might let the hands release down by the hips onto the mat. Tucking the chin in towards the chest, aligning the back of the head, not the crown, closing the eyes as we move into Savasana. When you're ready, starting to invite movement in, moving the fingers, the toes, really stretching the arms, the legs, bringing the knees in towards the belly, wrapping the arms around the legs, and rocking side to side, rolling onto one side, and slowly come on up to a sitting. When you're ready, blinking the eyes open. And namaste. Thank you very much for joining me through the month of January for our grounding, earthing, root chakra dedication to the lovely sign of Capricorn. As we move into February, we're going to be moving through the following new moon into Aquarius. We're also then going to be looking at moving up through the chakras and moving from the root chakra into the sacral chakra. So we're going to start to move into the water element. Thank you very much. If you have enjoyed working with any or all of these practices throughout the month of January, do give them a thumbs up. Do let me know in the comments below. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. I'll pop a button up here and I'll pop a couple of other links to my previous videos here and here. Thank you very much and namaste.